Welcome to Athar's Garage. In this video, I'll be working on the Yokomo RD 1.0, the rookie drift, entry-level drift car. I'm going to be working on step 1, the main chassis assembly. So let's get started. So I have the screw bag for bag 1 as well as bag 1. Things to note, I also have the chassis. Things to note is that for the bag number doesn't always correspond with the step number. So we will be working on step 1. Main chassis assembly, and right here it does say bag number 1 contents, along with the items from bag 1 that we're going to need. So take note of that. So the first part of step 1, the main chassis assembly, looks like we're installing the suspension mounts. So the suspension mounts that we need for the front and for the rear are the 43.5 millimeter suspension mount and the 39.5 suspension mount. So take note, you'll see that the size is actually embossed or molded into the plastic. So this one says 43.5. And then on the other side, this one says 39.5. So let's get these off the parts tree. All right, so I figured out how Yokomo does their screw bags. Each screw bag isn't the hardware you need for that specific step or bag. So with that said, you have to refer to this page that's given in the screw bag. So in step 1, I need M3 by 10 flathead screws and M3 by 18 flathead screws. So M3 by 10 is going to be in bag 2. M3 by 18 is going to be bag 4. So take note of that. That's how you're going to get the correct screws and quantities. They're not packaged to have all the screws or the different size screws you need in one bag. They just put all the quantities you need in individual bags and you just have to go find it yourself. So with that said, we can continue with the build. So that being said, we need 4 M3 by 10 flathead screws. And we're going to need these later, but go ahead and get them out. And we're going to need 2 more of these M3 by 10 flathead screws for the next part. So we have our front portion of the chassis and rear portion of the chassis. The 43.5 is going to go on the rear portion of the chassis, and the holes for the hinge pins will be facing the back of the chassis. So we need 2 of our flathead screws. And these screws are going to install in these 2 holes here and here. They're going to be going into plastics, so you don't need to crank down on it too hard. Once you feel it snug up, it's good. All right, the 39.5 suspension mount is going to be installed in these 2 holes here and here. The holes for the hinge pins are going to be facing forward. And again, we're going to install it with 2 M3 by 10 flathead screws. Again, you're going into plastic, so you don't need to crank down on it too hard. Once you feel it snug up, it's good. All right. Next, we need to find our upper deck mount, which I believe is this piece here. I'm going to check to make sure there's no sharp edges from it being taken off of the parts tree. So this upper deck mount is going to install in these two holes with M3 by 10 flathead screws, and it's going to install in this orientation here with this portion facing the rear of the car. There we go. Now we need our battery posts. You're going to need 4 of them. So let's go ahead and take those off the parts tree. I don't have any, if you have any sharp edges left, I'm just going to lightly sand them down. So we're going to need 4 M3 by 18 screws, which are going to be in bag 4, like I said earlier. So we have those. So these battery posts are going to install in these 4 holes. Just make sure that you're holding it straight and the screw's not going in crooked, and you can go ahead and install it. Right, so the posts are spinning as I'm trying to screw it in. So what I'm going to do is just take some pliers and a microfiber towel and kind of just clamp onto it as I try to screw it in, so that way I don't spin. So I'm almost fully tightened. Don't want to over tighten it. All right, and it shows that the slots are facing front to back, so that's what I did there. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten down the rest of them. All right, so that's it for step 1, the main chassis assembly. We got the suspension mounts on for the rear and the front. We got the upper deck mount and the battery posts on. So that's it for step 1. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. Let me know down in the comments if you had any issues. I'll do my best to help you out if I can. Stay tuned for the next video, which is going to be step 2, the steering rod bell crank assembly. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.